High five, yeah! Welcome to the black metal documentary called The Music of Satan! If you're expecting a beginning, middle, and end story about death metal or black metal or any kind of metal, he said you're gonna end up like that. What you want is a big stomach like a real man. Yes! The bands in this documentary are not in a castle. They're not on an expensive set. They are on tour buses, in bathrooms, making pee-pee all over the place. But what you need to know is that whether they're in a castle, in a tree, or in a bus, going boom, 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 they'd say the same thing. Their words would be the same. Someone asked me a question about black metal. Go ahead. Oh, the history of black metal? Google it. We don't want that. We want some fun. We want some behind-the-scenes stuff. Read about the lies somewhere else, the stories. What you have here is metal walking down the street and dying on a cross. That's right. I don't hear any more questions. This is supposed to be a proper introduction to a fantastically cute documentary about black metal. He's thirsty for knowledge. He should really be thirsty for water because he's dehydrated up there. That means his cocky's really hard. But the other thing isn't because it needs liquid to elongate and engorge. That's the pee-pee walk in the forest.
All right.
All right.
What the fucking movie?
Do you want me to wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
All right. I hate gay black metal. But, and I don't mean buttocks, I am not interrupting these people when they say things, but I will have some fun. Bam! Somebody says something stupid, I'm going to do something funny. There. Say something stupid.
You're gay.
Come here. This is Rob from Elegy Records.
Hi. I'm not part of this documentary.
Holy crap, it was on pause the whole time.
Come on, seriously.
Wait, show them your mosquito bite.
I'm not going to show my... We're in the forest.
Forest of
Come
Norway.
on, seriously. I got to go
Norway.
to jackass.
We're in Norway. Norway, Jose. We're in Norway. Where are we?
We're in Norway.
We're in Norway. I did it! Norway!
I'm Bubba the Turtle Man. I'm Bubba the Turtle Man. I'm strong to the village because I'm Norwegian.
Are Norwegians the inventors of what is called black metal today?
I'd say yes, except for the actual term black metal, which of course is from Venom.
Really, they should come up with their own name, you know, like, I don't know, corpse paint metal or Norse metal or whatever, but they're not black metal. Black metal is Venom. It describes our music, which is thrash metal, power metal, speed metal, death metal, and it's all of the metals. We do fast songs, slow songs, sex, drugs, rock and roll, Satanism, everything. A lot of those bands play either just death metal or just whatever metal, but they're certainly not black metal. They just couldn't find a term for themselves, so they just jumped on ours.
Venom doesn't sound anything like modern black metal bands, but it's, you know, it's still black metal. It's the same lyrical concept, the satanic lyrics and stuff, and yeah, Venom sounded more like punk than black metal nowadays. So
we wanted to be Venom. That's why we called ourselves black metal, because we knew that Venom were black metal. So
one thing which I don't understand is that some of the new black metalers say that Venom isn't black metal. I say to them, fuck off.
By the way, I knew this before I'm asking it, but you're related to Kronos?
We really knew about it. Oh, I'm really, really surprised that you knew about it. Yeah.
I'm so surprised you knew about it, Bill. Who could have ever told you?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yes, it's true.
So we've asked Kronos about other people naming a style of music after his album. How do you personally feel about the name black metal being taken from your family?
That was such an offense. I should like take all those people to court in the name of my family, really.
When you made the first album, you put vocals on it, do you consider it to be something called black metal?
Yeah, of course. I thought when I first heard, when I heard That Crush and even the Live in Leipzig album, I thought, yeah, it's cool, but actually I did something like that with Tormentor already, so I didn't feel that big step there. But when I heard the basics and the demo recordings of the Mysterious album, I was pretty much amazed. I never heard this way of picking, for instance, in the guitar when it's a chord and that the strings are picked separately.
Arpeggio, ding 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 ding, yeah.
And the whole structure of the music, it was amazing how the slow tempos are mixed with the total mind-blowing blast beats, because that time I never really heard that kind of blast beat playing, and the structure of the music was very interesting, so I thought it was really, really a piece of art. So, and I definitely felt it was like another level of black metal.
You've heard of the term true Norwegian black metal, but would you say that Orthon maybe invented?
Yeah, he did. Actually invented black metal, because the thing that also started the whole black metal scene in Norway is because of Sweden. You have Bathory and you have Mayhem getting the vocalist dead from Sweden, which made Mayhem the black metal band they became. And when they started out with the Viking stuff, it was inspired by Quarton from Bathory again. So I think it all comes from Sweden. Whether you like that opinion or not, it's a fact.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like true Norwegian black metal when they say...
Well, no, Gordon was first. Well, he was, true.
It's only just begun.
But I mean, fucking, if it hadn't been for Mayhem and especially Darkthrone and Emperor, it wouldn't have developed, because the Swedes were always into their sucker fucking lead guitar thingies and, technical guitar stuff.
I don't know if Quarthon ever called Bathory black metal, but it's definitely considered black metal. But I mean, that was just one guy, mainly one guy, and yeah, of course they're right. It was black metal before the second wave. It actually belonged to the first wave, in my opinion. But there were no black metal scene. There was just one guy. So the second wave, as you call it, started in Norway, no doubt.
I don't care about the Norwegian black metal. I'm from Austria,
So are bands like Cradle of Filth considered black metal?
No, they're just called crap.
This is gay.
I don't view them as a black metal band, no.
Gay.
I think Cradle of Filth did a genius thing when they sort of crossbred the whole gothic imagery and the whole vampire thing with black metal. I mean, it fucking worked.
I dedicate this next number to our friend, Bill Zebub, of the Cradle of Filth deeds.
Black metalers from Norway stole the idea of bullet belts from the Mexican banditos. Somehow that became... but I wonder why the Dutch black metal bands never came on stage with wooden shoes.
I don't know, ask them. We're not from Holland, so maybe you should ask them.
Which country are you from?
Oh my god! Sorry.
Well, so first, you didn't know about half of the biography of the band. You call yourself an interviewer.
The soprano, were you trained in opera?
You call me the soprano? Is it that?
Are you mezzo-soprano?
Cute.
Oh, this is so
Cute,
nice.
thank you. Actually, I've trained, I would say, as autodidact at the beginning.
Self-learned.
How do you say that?
Self-learned.
Self-sorry?
Self-taught.
Self-sorry.
Self-taught. And then every once in a while, yeah, at the beginning I started myself, and I took some classes here and there. And then, with dance, I started mainly with dance. And with dance, we added voice in there. So I started singing by dancing, actually, with all those experimentations and adding voice on the movements.
Sounds to me a little bit gay.
These days, it seems you've discarded the black metal vocals and have used the bardic singing style. Is it because you've been getting so many compliments about your clean singing voice?
No, I mean, if you listen to the new album, No Nation on This Earth is nearly all black metal. There's black metal parts in some of the songs. But if you listen to the first album, you know, Fuil Arsa is clean singing, Infernal Summer is clean singing, Darkest Flame is clean. I mean, there's clean and black vocals through all of Primordial. If we made a new album and it all required black metal singing and I felt that was the right thing to do, I'd do it. Doesn't really bother me what anybody does or don't think. But I mean, there's certain things I think that for different emotion or different emphasis and impact, you have to have this almost clean style.
Are you familiar with the Melissa album of Merciful Fate?
No.
No?
Yeah, some songs.
Well, perhaps you would know this. Can you talk the rest of the guys into maybe doing a cover of Curse of the Faroe Islands?
Cover of?
Curse of the Faroe Islands.
Curse of the Faroe Islands.
I don't know that song.
I'll try.
It's on Melissa album.
Yeah, I don't know.
But where exactly are the Faroe Islands? Are they on the Nile River?
They are located between Iceland and Scotland, right in the middle.
And
it's 18 islands, not just one.
all right, so I'm a little bit confused the connection between Egypt and the Nords. Were the pharaohs born on the Faroe Islands?
The Faroe,
were they buried there?
the Faroe Islands means the Sheep Islands. It's nothing to do with Pharaoh.
So are you angry that the planet is called Jupiter instead of Zeus?
It was very hard for French bands to export. But this was really good for these scenes because being kept cloistered has made all these bands going to something more harsh and more extreme all the time.
Visual paint or whatever comes from occultism, and I used it when I was practicing some things, let's say.
Masturbation?
It does its work for some things, you know?
Yeah, I know!
God damn it, how do you know?
Why do you only know these things about him?
You saw the movie, yeah?
Yeah.
You made the masturbation.
I saw the movie too. Oh, really? The Belgian one? No, I've seen that one!
That was not me, It was a prayer singer.
You actually perform the way I thought that black metal should be performed. It's like, I don't know if you mean for it, but you are almost like the living dead on the stage. Sort of a sad death type. You're the only person who does that.
Thank you.
Have you done that in the past? Is it a new thing?
I'm not sure, but I know that in Tormentor we used a lot of theatric elements already. I already used makeup, and for me the first makeup was just like we invented. I bought this strange cream in the with my friend, the drummer, Zsolt Mahet, who became a big tattoo artist later. But he was already a painter and artist back then, and it was our idea to try out, instead of using only black makeup, what we could see on the Sodom covers and stuff. Actually, I was influenced by a band called Alien Sex Fiend. When I saw the video, I saw that the guy had the white makeup and looked like a dead. I haven't seen anything from Mayhem back then in the 80s, you know. So we bought this strange pasta called, I remember, Lassat pasta, which was actually made for teenagers to on the pots to put to dry your skin. But it was this white cream which remains on your face, so we used that, and we just destroyed some graphite into dust and used that to paint. So that's how we started the makeup. I didn't know about any other bands who would use that. And also with Tormentor we went into a theater and we rented or got some theatric stuff. So in some pictures you can see that I'm wearing these strange clothes. That was from a theater. And we always had these theatric elements. Even I had a mask back then. So in a way it's not that much changed today. I'm doing almost the same things on another level with Mayhem. And for me it's very important, the freedom of it. So it must be like, if I want, I don't use makeup. If I want, I use makeup. If I want, I use this makeup or that, or these costumes or that costumes. It must be, I don't like limitations, so I like to enjoy the freedom. So that's why sometimes we come up with the most bizarre makeups and the most bizarre costumes, just to push the limits.
In Merciful Fate, it seemed like you were the only one to, I guess you would say, get decked out in costume and corpse paint. Theme conscious? Was this, did you want the other members to do this also, or did you want to be the one who stood out more?
There was never anybody wanting to do something. I already did that with the band I started singing in Black Rose, which was like from 78 to 1980. We had this naughty, crazy show, you know, going on with all these weird, but more like homemade effects, you know. Had this friend that worked at a butchery, you know, and when you would get me pig's heads that we would tie together, they had already been split, and I would split them with an axe, you know. We had little dolls already back then, you know, that we had opened up and put pig's blood and pig's guts in a little bag, you know, and I would stab this dog and pull the guts out and throw in the audience. You know, wheelchairs were already in back then, you know. I actually stole one from a hospital at one point, you know, to use it in the show. Yeah, not good. But you know, you had no money. You had to try and get by and get the show done. And I worked as a lab assistant, you know, and I found a few little powders in the arsenal that I could mix to do these bombs, you know, on stage. Just these canisters filled with this shit. I'm standing there with a torch, you know, and just sticking it in this thing like, I was going to explode. And then, I mean, it was, you know, but it looked real good, you know, and
It's a show.
Nightmare! Come on, use your hands and give us a little slapping.
you ever actually consider like telling any of the members, you know, maybe you should dress up more?
Because that would just take it so close to Kiss, you know.
I dressed totally like a Christmas tree and singing Christmas tree with all the balls and lights and everything on me. It was pretty bizarre, and I like, you know, I think old black metal, I see you smiling, it has this bizarre dark humor too. I have nothing against that. If you look at the bands like old Venom and stuff, they had also this aspect.
Of course, we always had a joke element on the albums, just so, you know, it was always, we would always like want to retain that tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have a fucking good laugh doing what we're doing as well. It's just other people don't get our jokes.
Yeah.
And they straight away, oh, you're not fucking serious, you're not a Satanist. Like, what is a Satanist? Not allowed to laugh? What, suppose, what, you got to be miserable all the time? What is that? You know, I just don't get it. You know, right? So, right, you're into Satan. Right, you got to keep a straight face and never ever laugh.
If you look at what's happening at Christmas, we are killing or cutting out millions of Christmas trees, and they are dying in your room. So actually, what you have in the room is just a corpse of a tree, which is just slowly dying in the name of love, and it makes not much sense to me to have that trees. So I was thinking probably most of the Christmas trees are not that much happy to be Christmas trees, you know?
Come on now, do it right!
I was the pimp on another show in Finland when I had these strange pimp dresses with a cowboy hat and all the shit, and I had it's a lot of improvisation there. We had 2 dancer girls in the club, and they asked if we want cage dancers, but we said, well, no. Here I got to you, man, because you are into that stuff too.
Do you know how much money I made at the last horror convention?
Yeah, all those guys, they were coming up to you wanting to take pictures with you, and you were charging them.
I was charging them $10 to take a picture with me.
Oh my goodness.
I used the 2 girls. We put a sofa on the stage and table. I was chopping like drugs. It was not real drugs, you can't do that, but you know, in the microphone. I think it was cool. I liked it. It was all the concept of the Order KO album, you know, like how to manifest this chaos in a bizarre way, actually, to challenge the audience, to create love and hatred, because obviously they love us, but they hate to see me as a bunny.
Well, originally my idea was to bring forth like the demon inside, to bring a sort of image of one of the demons from your inner self.
It was us and King Diamond and early Slayer folks. I think these were like among the earliest bands who used them.
When I joined the band as a fucking rhythm guitarist years ago, we had a singer who wore the corpse paint, you know, very much like Alice Cooper. You know, if it's done in the right way, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I like some of that stuff anyway. I like some of the sort of Burzums and Mayhems and things like that. You know, it's great metal. I mean, I prefer to listen to metal than any other kind of music, you know. I mean, if you were to say to me, you know, here's the worst corpse paint metal band in the world, or here's fucking Britney Spears, I listen to the fucking worst corpse paint metal band in the world, you know.
No, I don't wear corpse paint. I wear mercurial silver makeup is what it's called.
This is gay.
Have you ever been criticized for wearing corpse paint-like face paint? I guess the semantics don't really matter, whatever it's called. Have you ever been criticized for having short hair and wearing that sort of...
We used to have a much less the paint and stuff, but after one tour we just added some more and a bit more and a bit more. Now it's like this.
quite full paint.
Is it also could it be a rebellion against what corpse paint was? Corpse paint was white and black.
Yeah, I think we had some. Also when we started, the black metal was quite big thing, or starting to be a big thing those days, and we saw many bands with the normal corpse paint, white and black, and spikes and leather, stuff like that. We decided we want to do something different, but still have the theatrical view also. So it somehow came from that originally.
The Mother North video, it was only available on a VHS sort of compilation. Is it ever going to resurface again?
No, we don't plan to do that.
Is it possible to show an excerpt of this on the documentary, or do you want it buried?
I don't really want to put any limits of you in that respect. If you feel that it fits in, well, it's okay by me. I feel that we have done much better work with later videos.
Many bands that I think choose to go with a really bad production. Those are the bands that really, they're not really good players.
First, we tried to make a good sounding record, and we didn't succeed. And then we had some money, and we were supposed to make a good sounding record, and we didn't want to. So we made an album that sounds like it's been recorded for $2.
Because it's necro.
That actually comes from Fenris's studio, which was called Necro Hell Studios or something, which was his loft in his parents' house, where the first Dark Throne records were recorded. It was a 4-track tape recorder, so that's actually where necro sound comes from.
It's coming from the 80s, more or less, when death metal became more technical, more better produced in the States, and in Norway we went the other way, having poorer productions, focusing more on atmosphere.
If I'm gonna spend the time in the studio, and if I'm gonna spend time writing a song that I can be really proud of, for me it would feel just a waste of time to go into a studio and not try to do it as good as possible.
The tape machine was used to record Ziggy Stardust's Spiders from Mars album. Really? That's how old it was. Yeah, that's a fact. Absolutely. The gear was fucking ancient. You know, it was a demo studio anyway. It was owned by a band called Lindisfarne, and they used to go in there to record the demos, and then they'd go down to London and record their album properly. And you know, when I joined the studio, there was no metal in the building at all, and it was sort of me going around the clubs and seeing all the metal bands that were starting out at the time that actually convinced the record company to start releasing some metal albums. Tigers Pantang, Raven Fist, White Spirit, and bands like that at the time, you know, which was part of the new wave of British heavy metal. Right. And then we sort of muscled in and got some Venom demos done, and you know, bribed them into releasing the fuckers, you know, and it worked out quite well.
I don't like this modern Pro Tools digital sound, cut and paste metal. It never interested me at all. So I'd rather it be full of atmosphere and feeling and sound like Welcome to Hell.
We don't like the old gods!
To start somewhere. When we recorded Dark Medieval Times, I spent my well, what do you call it? You know, you get a loan as a student, yeah, it was a scholarship basically, and I just spent those money on the recording. Without those money, we couldn't have made it in the first place. I think that it must have equaled some 1,500 American dollars. That was the whole budget for that album. And as we managed to step it up, you know, we brought the money that we earned on Satyricon on getting better recordings. We just brought the cash back into the band, and we felt that we could do better albums with better resources and you know, getting resources and channeling them into the band has been a core issue for Satyricon since day one.
Actually, now we think that's the production on our latest albums have been a little bit too clean. Actually, we always taken it like the let's get even more, you know, professional sounding, whatever. But I think we're gonna go back, not making it a Dartron 4-track album or anything like that, but just try more of like an analog approach and see if you can crank up the volume there a little bit and just distort everything up somewhat and use drums without triggering the toms, stuff like that. So it's, yeah, get a little bit more feeling to it.
Using the devil in music is nothing new. I mean, the Rolling Stones did it, you know. Heavy metal is the devil's music. The two go together hand in hand and always will do.
My vision to make it short, because it's really complex.
Oh, size doesn't matter.
That's how you use it. Like, that's the excuse of people who has a small penis, mister.
He does.
I know. Anyhow.
Wait, that's a more interesting question. Why don't you ask him about that?
What?
About the size of his.
Would you say that you're average or small, large, maybe Belgian?
No, I'm not not Belgian, because I'm half English. So it would be like it would look like a roast beef with French fries around it.
I don't think there is a common Satanism in black metal because everybody looks upon it differently.
So how about you? Do you believe that there's things like demons?
Yeah.
Would you like to talk more about that? Because I've
No.
never heard of that. No.
But that's what I believe in.
Is Satyricon a band that is satanic in any way or anti-Christian?
It's definitely anti-Christian, but I think that Satyricon is much more about having a specific kind of substance rather than expressing our view against something. It's, again, not a political band. Satyricon has always been a spiritual arena and it's going to remain that. And I think that it is very limiting to let your life task or your life's work revolve around protesting against something. I mean, that it would have been more correct to choose another art form like punk music or hardcore music that is really fitted for just that kind of purpose, where music itself is almost secondary.
How do you feel about certain black metal bands boasting bands like Venom just write make-believe lyrics about demonic killings, whereas Norwegian black metal bands actually live out the things that they say in their songs?
No, they don't. What, burning a church? I mean, look, there's a big difference between being a musician and being like a felon, yeah? I mean, you know, if you want to go and commit a crime and go to jail, well, go on then. Or do you want to be a musician and tour the world?
We don't want to go out, meet lots of people and be the rock star, do that whole gig. To me, it's not interesting, you know?
Perhaps Satan has a better sense of humor than some black metal bands?
Definitively. Like, I know like a certain bass player from Norway. I thought he knew everything about Satanism and was like, you know, I'm not laughing, like, and there's no humor and everything.
We actually did form Celtic Frost because we wanted not to be regarded as satanic, because we thought that because we thought that this the way that Satanist approach worked back then, you know, after Venom, Belphegor, black metal was a one-way road, you know.
I don't consider Dimmu Borgir or Enslaved as black metal.
I might get angry and I might kick your ass.
So is Absu a non-English word, or is it Taoist slang? Instead of saying absolutely not, you say absolute.
No, Absu comes from Assyrian, Mesopotamian, and Sumerian mythology, which is the abyss, or a bottomless chasm, or a never-ending void, or the allied force of Mumu Tiamatu.
Gay. Since you are Belgium and not from Holland, because I don't know who would possibly think that you were from Holland, but I was wondering, actually, if you refuse to drink Trappist ales because they are brewed by the Christ God's minions, and you know, I wondered if maybe you wish to further your own ends by abusing what they create and using the Christ God's powers against him?
Well, let's say not drinking a Christian beer would be like not raping a nun. You know, like, they have to be useful for something. You know, they were hypocrites enough. Like, you shall not drink, it's not good to be drunk. But they invent fucking alcohol and they trap it.
I know.
So, yeah, of course I love those beers. And probably they are the best of them all because they have shown the hypocrisy.
But I also agree. You know, those are delicious beers.
Just like nuns.
Yeah.
Well, that might be tied in with the
That's
fact
enough.
that...
That's enough. I just need one.
Are those Danish cigarettes?
Yeah, you want one?
No,
You
thank
smoke
you.
it?
No, I don't smoke.
Come on, this is a good chance to start. Is that like you smoke?
No thanks.
Teach her how to smoke.
No, I don't.
Okay. So that breaks the myth that smoking ruins your voice.
I don't know. Depends on whether you like the way I sing or not.
Now, Iris, what were you going to say before King rudely cut you off?
Oh, was that rude?
No, okay.
I have no. That's Danish manners. No.
Throughout your career, you've been describing in articles paranormal experiences you've had, and experiences in which objects were floating in the air. Was any of that true, or were they just events in your lyrics?
All lies.
Well, I believe the question is more, did the journalists have license with your lyrics? Were you describing lyrics of objects floating? And a journalist then misquoted you as saying that really...
No, I've seen all that shit for sure. My place in Copenhagen was big time haunted. Big time. Seriously. Oh yeah. And not just me in there, other people there too. It's not me just sitting there looking at... Whenever something happened, I would always be like, trying to search for any kind of logical explanation for it, But I mean, how do you explain like 3 people seeing a glass floating up in thin air, full of beer, but first beer. I mean, nobody was drunk, That's the classic thing I've told so many times about, the waiting for the first Merciful Fate demo to be heard by all of us, we were, my brother and Kim Ross, the drummer, and myself were sitting around my coffee table, waiting for the other guys to arrive, and then before they arrived, my brother's glass suddenly rose up in the air about this high, and came back down again, and we were just like...
Alright, nobody was on any
no,
substances, you just saw this?
All 3. And then it's like, first beer had been open, we were about to get drunk, but had not gotten very far at all, and still waiting for some of the other guys, and we were actually discussing whether we should wait for them or just pop it in and listen to it, because we had just picked it up, at the studio.
Right.
And then this thing happened, it was like, it was not scary, it was not this or that, it was just like, we didn't say a word for the first couple of minutes, and then finally I'm like...
pretend not to see it, or where it was
there was
just...
no way to pretend. I mean, if you pretended like... it would be completely... Everybody would laugh at you like, you didn't see that? Oh, nothing, nothing. So you can't...
That's like what I would have done.
Yeah, I don't know, there was no way. Everybody was just like... But not scared or anything like that. It was just like, wow. And then I said, you saw it too, I know you saw it. And they both did that.
Do you think that Kerrang, with that big article about black metal, is the #1 reason why black metal was
That
born?
definitely rocketed the whole thing to, out of the underground.
I think that article did very little other than ridicule black metal, and it's just the ultimate example of British press not taking anything seriously until it started selling. Emperor and Cradle of Filth, wonderful examples of that. I don't think any of those bands got any fucking respect until they suddenly exploded and started selling a lot. All of a sudden, everybody's their friend.
Kerrang's just a load of fucking rubbish. It's a joke. I mean, Kerrang, Karap, fucking Kaching, like sell out mag. Basically Kerrang cut its hair. Kerrang has now got short hair. It's not a metal mag. Not when you've got Busted on the front cover and other fucking such lame shit.
Yeah, I haven't read it in a long time, but I remember the days when they had Prince on the cover. I was like, what the fuck's this shit? You know?
Kerrang was made up of some guys who, like, you know, really enjoyed metal, and then they realised that they had a little bit of power and could make and break bands. So, you know, they had their weekly favourites. You know, one week it was Exodus, next week it was Slayer, and you know, it all just went to their heads. We went down to some party in London. They were all dressed up like fucking rock stars with leather pants on and snakeskin boots. It was absolutely made us puke to the bones. You know, it was so sick. It's like, you're journalists, not rock stars. You know, it was a classic case of power trip and going straight to their heads. Fucking fools.
I think the suicide of Dead was probably a personal thing for him. I mean, you know, I don't think that he had any idea that that would become a big part of a black metal explosion thing that happened a couple years later. I think that was on his mind. I mean, I think what actually made that into a big deal was the fact that photos of it existed, and they got spread throughout the world, and they eventually ended up on a on a record sleeve. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
On the album cover, I have.
Yeah, there's like an LP out of Colombia or something that, when you know, it's a live show of Mayhem, which has Dead, you know, his brains all blown out. I mean, I used to have the album. I think I still have it somewhere. You know, then you got the stabbing, you know, and the murder of the homosexual guy and some other things. And to be honest, I don't really have an opinion about it. I mean, once again, people were kind of young. People were really influenced by what was going on. I mean, I think it turned into one of those, everybody wanted to outdo each other. I'm pretty happy I never got that far. I mean, I remember I had my ideas about something, but it never happened, thank fucking God.
What's satanic about that? What, so did the devil help him? No, he got caught. He went to jail. Yeah. So how satanic's that? You know, was the devil looking after him? Ooh, no.
Once again,
you know,
a felon.
The cop came and arrested him and said, you will go to jail. And the judge said, go to jail. Where was the devil helping him? I mean, it's all bullshit.
yeah.
So he's really satanic, is he? Because he stabbed some fag or whatever. You know, duh.
In the early 90s, we were just preoccupied with being tough to each other.
In the early days, some black metal bands, it seems, rather than getting famous for their music, they got famous for their crimes. Does Marduk have any tales of strange violence or anything like that? No.
If that was the case, we would keep it personal, because I always believe our music is strong enough to stand on its own. You know, we stand in the test of time doing what we do.
So let's keep it personal.
We're living in our own world, you know. We don't want to, you know, end up in jail.
We tried to avoid all of that. We felt that that was an obstacle for the spirit of the band rather than a benefit. And I mean, nothing is more important than music when you're a band. And our passion was always the music. And we had the passion for the genre of black metal. We grew up with that, and we wanted to dedicate our lives to it. But all these sensationalist stories were just obscuring the whole mission and the whole task that we took upon us. I mean, if you are dedicating yourself to a specific kind of art, then there is no higher purpose than that art in itself. You don't use it as an instrument to getting political messages across, or religious messages, or any sort of you know, philosophical things. You want to express yourselves musically and devote yourselves to that.
Do you think there was any truth in that, what was called the inner circle?
What do you mean truth about it?
Was the inner circle of Norway real?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
And how did Marduk relate to that?
Because we were a part of it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Am I asking a sensitive question?
No, not at all.
So, was that a violent organization?
What do you think?
to this genre because my mom was puritanical Christian. She was talking in tongues and she threw me out of the house and whatever, so I have a lot of anger toward Christianity.
The Nords have lost much of their history with the burning of artifacts.
Yes, that's true.
But still, Finland had a rich oral tradition, and I suspect that the Nords, do you mind me calling you Nords? Nords means north, right?
Not at all.
So you had an oral tradition as well, so were things really lost forever, do you think?
A lot of things were, there's no doubt about that. And it's not a thing specifically pertaining to the North. It happens everywhere all the time. All things get lost, traditions. And it's happened in the North as everywhere, no doubt about that. And the spread of Christianity has especially eradicated the past. I think actually it's one of the biggest cultural vandals ever, the Catholic Church.
I have heard alternate stories of Norwegian history in which the Vikings actually embraced Christianity, whereas the people who burned the churches say that Christianity wiped out their history and that was a reaction to that.
I mean, you have to remember that, of course, many of them embraced Christianity because if they became allies with, for example, Christian armies in England or Christian armies in Denmark that was Christianized before Norway, they had, of course, a huge army to overthrow the, more counties in Norway. I mean, it was Norway was more or less just counties, with chiefs called jarls. They were actually not a very homogenic country. There were a lot of different, how shall I put it? They were constantly fighting. And you had, when they could just be, have some water thrown in their face and say something, yabbity yabbity yabbity, okay, I'm Christian, whatever, give me your army and we'll conquer something here. So it was more or less a political movement rather than a religion.
As far as burning churches, I mean, that's something that went on quite a lot in Norway actually back in the day, and what we came to realize is if you want to fight something, that's not the way to do it, because that's just going to solidify their faith. Mm-hmm. If you really want to fight something like that, like something as big and established as Christianity, you'd probably have to do it in a different way. You'd probably have to somehow break down their morale, question the faith, get that thing going. Burning a church, that's just gonna put fear in them, and they're just gonna hold their hands even tighter.
Burn down churches or windmills.
We are not Dutch.
Did Greece, the black metal scene in Greece, have any kind of violence?
No, you can't. Greece is a very conservative country, and if you do something like that and you are arrested, you will be killed in the middle of Athens, in the center of Athens. We hurt people with our music. That's what we do.
I noticed that your lyrics don't really have the word baby in them.
Baby?
You mean like...
I love you, baby? Or?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think that would help record sales if you had songs like that?
Absolutely.
Hold the heathen hammer high, baby.
We'd probably get paid for this interview if we did that.
Yeah, probably.
You don't want to try to add baby to something?
Hold heathen baby high.
I never tried that and never even thought about it before you mentioned it.
No, then I'm leaving the band.
Sorry, has someone else ever recorded vocals on a Creator album, but you still wrote that you did the vocals?
Who should that have been?
Because I heard of an artist doing that called Nilly, and the only Nilly Vanilli. I heard that there was a movie you were going to sue that was made in America, but it was already in production in Canada about one of your members. It was called Snake on a Plane.
We tried to sue, but
I must say I found very intelligent persons, both Euronymous and Varg Vikernes, who were at that time kind of leaders in the band. They were both very sympathetic persons and very, very intelligent persons. And of course, later I got aware of their oppositions, but I had never problem with any of these guys. And even like Euronymous wanted to release my band called Tormentor, of course, and then Varg wanted to release my other band called Plasma Pool because he liked industrial and techno music back then. And we had a lot of common points, so I had no problem. Maybe my mistake was that I didn't try to stop this opposition between them, because I just heard stuff behind the backs, and at the time I thought that it was just kind of result of the stress of the recording, and it's been a long process, and they might be very tired of the whole shit, you know. And I thought when the album will be out and we start to play live, things gonna get better. But unfortunately it went in the other way. However, I think it was again a ball game with the medias, because what actually happened, that the teenage guy killed another, you know. It's like we were into this extreme music and we were crazy and we were young, but the media total turned it inside out, you know, and blow it up to the sky. And I think, however, I was very pissed off on losing my friend, but still to give one of the biggest sentence in Norwegian law history to Varg Vikernes, that was kind of pretty rude. I mean, he got more than serial killers would have, and that's actually, when I think back now, it's pretty interesting. And also the story, if I don't want to go into details, but probably a lot of people went into it, and you can find a lot of questionable things there still today. And it was just a big time manipulation, I think, of far beyond us, you know, far above us. People wanted to make an example out of it and kind of abuse this story, you know. And obviously, another hand, of course, you know, it's also it's a dark aspect of our history, because now, of course, all the outsiders, or not all, but many of the people think, wow, such a great story that belongs to Mayhem, and Mayhem lives on the blood of these people. Actually, it's the other way. No one thinks about that the band was completely ruined. The band was just dead after what happened, and it had to build up again from ground zero its reputation. Of course, the people heard about the name, but it's very controversial, you know. And people have, I think, certainly bigger expectations from us than normally from a band. So I don't think when people believe that we can thank anything to our history, I can't share that idea. Mayhem really had to pay for it.
Which one of you is the Nazi? No, I'm just kidding. Were you ever accused? Like, it seems to me that...
Were I ever a Nazi?
I don't know what the hell has, like, Viking ages has to do with, like, being Nazis and whatever.
They are accused of being Nazis because we used the runes, the T, and some other bands, Moonsover, they had the S. And that's lame to accuse us to be Nazis just for that.
Yeah, because Hitler stole it all from the Vikings, so...
Yeah, that has been around for thousands of years. Hitler hasn't.
In entertainment, is it very hard for an artist to speak his mind? Do they censor a lot of...
No, not in Germany. Oh, no, of course they do. Yeah, they tried to do that with me once because they thought you know, when you have like violent lyrics, that's a problem.
So you're not allowed to wear a swastika?
I'm not allowed to wear any swastikas.
Which Voivod song is the most Nazi? No, I'm just kidding. Music shouldn't really have politics to it, but has Voivod ever had politics?
Social messages, I guess. More like social issues.
National social?
I've heard in Stockholm, if there are non-Swedish people in the school, you can't sing the Swedish national anthem, and sometimes wearing the Swedish flag colors, you're called a racist.
It's true. It's very strange and it's very sad.
Some people think it's bad if you have a shirt with a flag of your own country on it, so there's always going to be someone who sees something that's not there necessarily.
Yeah, but that's a tendency, a general tendency, I think, of our kind of apologetic, like culture.
Why are the Swedes so afraid?
There's a lot of immigrants in Sweden, and I know they have had a lot of problems with cultural differences and stuff like that. And there's also so many more Swedes than there are Norwegians. When you walk around in Oslo, the biggest city in Norway, it's still small potatoes. It's 500,000 for 550,000 people. It's the police don't wear guns. There's we're just kind of peaceful people, pretty much. So there's not all that tension in the air in Norway as it is maybe in the bigger cities in Sweden.
In America, it seems that when Caucasians are proud of their roots, they are often called racists. Have you ever had accusations like that?
Yes, we have. In Germany mostly. Only from one organization. Well, actually, it's just one guy, but it causes some trouble. Apart from that, there have been no serious accusations. There have been the odd incident of someone talking about it, but no organized accusations like that.
Have you ever been in trouble with the organization Antifa?
Not really. I mean, there's really no organization that I think could give us a problem because we would just fight them back.
But everybody else is so afraid of...
Yeah, probably they are, but we are not. At the beginning of 2000 we had some troubles with them, but we don't care about that shit, you know. We always do what we want to do, and yeah. They're always searching for bands that they can pick out and say, okay, it's your fault that this and this happens, do that. I don't care about that.
To be proud of your roots doesn't mean it doesn't mean hatred for other cultures at all. I mean, if everyone was, pride of their own roots, instead of being so concerned and kept calling everybody racist for being so, it would be much easier, I guess. I mean, there's nothing racist about being proud of yourself, proud of your ancestors.
I think we have a very strong sense of nationality, but not in a very supremacist, that kind of way.
I could understand it if you live in a horrible neighborhood and you get beat up by somebody that's not of your ethnical background every day. Maybe that will really help you become a very open-minded person. Oh my God, that's my drummer trying to sound like Hitler. Yeah. Speaking of racially fucking screwed up people, dude, I don't really know.
Okay.
Again, I mean, if you're young and dumb and naive, maybe. You'll have a period. I'll admit it, I had a fucking dumb period like about a year when I thought I was a fucking Nazi. Then I fucking woke up and I thought, Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I thinking about?
Poland is a pretty anti-Semitic country, yes. And I'm not here to say that it's not, because that'd be a lie, you know what I mean? I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm not a big fan of... I'm not the biggest patriot on the other hand, you know what I mean? It's... we got our issues with different countries. And although, our president or our politics may claim that we are, Jewish-friendly country, I don't think we are. Just leave the past behind us and don't, dig it. There's no reason to do that, you know what I mean? there's still people who feel there's some animosities between Poles and Germans, you know, same as Poles and Russians. We've been fucked by Russia too, you know what I mean? They claim to be friends, you know, they invaded Poland.
Finland and Russia, they were war so many times, so we have some bad names for Russian people because of that.
There's lots of bullshit in history, you know, like in every country history, you know, everyone has his you know, black pages. And what can I say? Even Poland, I mean, we had our issues with Czech Republic. We invaded some of the Czech. You know, we kind of used the occasion because Germany invaded Czech. So we used the occasion. We took some of the Czech mountains in 39 or 38. I don't remember now, but you know what I mean? Like there's no country that's like all, you know, sacred, and you know what I mean.
All right.
Didn't you practice?
No. I practiced in front of a mirror.
Yeah, he had 4 dummies.
How does NS metal fit into Greece? Does Greece stay away from it? Because Greece
No, it doesn't stay away. There are some bands that follow this NS movement, but on the other hand, Rotting Christ has nothing to do with that stuff. I mean, we have played all around the world. When we play, our fans are black, our fans are white, our fans are yellow. So I can never say that I don't want this guy, you know, to be in my show, because metal is something has nothing to do with the color of your body or your irritation or where you come from and stuff like that. Metal is a worldwide music that unites people, not diverse.
Seeing this stuff with Muslims or whatever, it's just now it's getting totally over the top, and that really freaks me out and pisses me off in many ways. So whatever.
Muslims have a foothold in Norway?
Oh, it's getting there. There's some towers and stuff in Oslo now, which I really don't like, and they start with their preaching and stuff, and I really hate that.
There are no Muslims. There are no Muslims in Greece because, as I told you before, Greece is exactly on the limit, on the borders between Muslims and Christians. So Muslims, we have no Muslims there. But of course, the problem is that because we are located on this part of Europe, on this part of the planet, we spend millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars, just to have, you know, our country safe and free.
It'd be interesting to learn from Greece.
Yeah.
Do you have any Muslims coming in?
No. It can never happen. I mean, we have different nationalities, you know, different people coming to the country, but the character of this country is will never let this kind of invasion. I'm pretty sure of that. And same with Czech, or same with, you know, Ukraine probably, you know what I mean? It's just, we have it in our genes, you know, we don't like anyone, like any other, like foreigners to come and, you know, take our money and jobs and everything, you know what I mean?
You would never have a cartoon with Muhammad on a market?
No, not really. For me, I don't listen that much. The lyric stuff doesn't mean that much to me. The NSBM bands that I have, or as considered as NSBM bands, I like them more or less because the music. So the National Socialism part is not that big part for me. It's more or less the music or anything. But I don't consider that as a bad thing for me that I can buy that record because it's NSBM. If I like the music, I will buy it anyway.
There were a lot of bands connected to white supremacism and stuff like that. That's really something I can't relate to, and it goes like that for any type of musical movement. If it's related to fascists or anything like that, I really don't want to hear anything about it. But as for the music, I thought the keyboard part was pretty interesting.
We even used keyboards, ooh. So that was people thought looked upon it as really, interesting elements in the music.
I think we are trying to develop, at least in some direction. I don't want to do a same album 2 times in a row. Of course, there has been some similarities that I don't think we are starting to make disco music tomorrow or anything like that.
I feel that if you cannot bring anything new and something better to each album, then it's better just to finish the whole thing and say that this was what we managed to achieve. With Satyricon, I feel that we have managed to evolve and we improve over the 17 years of our existence, and our albums bear witness of that constant evolution and that constant improvement.
The SOD song, Whatever Happened to Celtic Frost? Celtic Frost.
Okay, I can agree with that. Fuck SOD.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Fuck them. Whatever happened to SOD?
They released this album called Cold Lake.
Yeah, piece of shit.
Yeah, I know, it's a piece of shit. I mean, I don't know what Tom Warrior was thinking. He must have been out of his mind, doing it. Or just desperate for something different.
I don't think you need to explain why Cold Lake failed. The questions why Cold Lake even exists. That it failed is obvious. The album has absolutely no quality. It's an abomination. Yeah. The songwriting, no matter how you look at it, even if you put a different band's name on that album, the songwriting is just pitiful.
He seems to be a really a cool guy, very intelligent man. I mean, with a lot of integrity. So it's weird looking back and seeing that album in their discography.
I only have contempt for that album.
They were a band that committed musical treason and what?
I don't like that word, but it's this is obviously Bill Zebub, right?
I just don't think about Cold Lake. I mean, because they look nothing like Cold Lake now, and they sound nothing like Cold Lake now with the new record. So, I mean, that's just a day I don't even remember. I have that record, by the way, and it fucking sucks.
You bought a Motley Crue Theater of Pain shirt.
Fucking homosexual fucking ass,
I hate when bands that I like, drastically change. That's the worst thing I know.
Starting to enjoy the folk or the pagan music because they're finding themselves in it, because the multicultural agenda is trying to mix everybody as one thing, and they want to be their own thing, and pagan metal is giving them that. Do you think that's...
Yeah, I think there's something...
It's just something with the Finnish roots to add something really old Nordic style thing with the music.
It's more about Norwegian culture, Norwegian language, and yes, the inspiration from the Nordic nature as the main inspiration source.
Have you ever heard the term bear sark?
Yes.
What does that mean? Possession?
It means a guy who goes crazy in war without armor.
And is that a Faroese thing?
Berserker.
Well, every Saturday.
It's been heard of.
Every Saturday night, yeah.
Yes.
Because I was going to ask if maybe you wear armor in America because of the censorship, but in Europe you go berserk. You're the berserkers.
We are not wearing armor in America this time.
No.
It's the overweight.
It's too heavy to bring on the flights.
Yes.
So.
Any of you in the band have a theater background? How did that develop?
Not really, no. I don't know where it sort of comes from, but I mean, I just
sort of pick up a lot of ideas also from. I try to keep my eyes and ears open all the time, and it's not like just going to see another band and find an idea there. I think there's a lot of stuff you could learn and pick up and use in a different way, you know, from theater or musicals or whatever.
What is pagan metal to you?
Let me use another word, folk metal, with the folk instruments.
Yeah, that makes me puke. Most of it, yes.
And is that taking over, do you see?
No, it's very popular at the time being, but probably be gone in a few years.
So it's just a trend that you don't see lasting?
I don't know if it's a trend or whatever. I mean, I don't really care. They can do what they do, and it's fine, you know, I don't have a problem with it. We do what we do, and that's what matters to us.
As long as we don't have to listen to it, it's not a problem to us.
We don't try to sound like, you know, some role-playing music or something like that. That I feel like it feels like most bands today going on the folk moniker. It's just they're just jokers, you know, and clowns basically.
I listened to Bathory when in my formative years, and I'm sure that some black metal bands have listened to Morbid Angel.
I mean, I can like any kind of music that has a true substance and that offers something that is unique and rewarding. It just happens to be so that the most vital scene has been in Norway since the early 90s. That wave of black metal bands that emerged at that point of time single-handedly restored and strengthened and enriched the whole legacy of black metal. And for some reason it has just remained that way, that the bands with the most authentic sound and feeling has been the Norwegian ones. And it's impossible for any band from anywhere else to really get close to the originators if all they do is to try to copy that kind of expression or that kind of sound or feeling. I think that an American band will have to find their own way, just like the Norwegian bands did. And if they just seek the Norwegian sound and go for getting as close to sounding as their idols as possible, well, then they can be nothing more than, you know, good copies at best. The originals will always remain the best, but I've seen examples of pretty healthy scenes emerging from elsewhere. I mean, Greece had a pretty good scene for a period.
Of course, you know, some people have say that, okay, if you come in the southern part of Europe, you cannot play black metal because black metal combined with snow, forest and stuff like that, but it's not like this, you know, the soul matters.
American bands like Obituary and stuff like that, it's quite incompatible to black metal. There isn't so much atmosphere in there, it's just growling deep and having fun on stage and drinking and walking around in short pants and training shoes and wearing funny caps. Yeah, but I can understand that some black metal fans don't like this funny kind of death metal at all.
Death metal is the back of 7 churches by Possessed, and that's it. You don't stray from the formula.
Merry fucking Christmas! Kill your fucking grandma, bitch!
One of the greatest singers of all time. Possessed is me and Demonos' favorite band. Beyond the Gates, me and Demonos, you know, we never drink together without listening to Beyond the Gates.
It's all down to subjectivity. Personally, I'm not that into the death metal style. It was something beyond the world of technicality and a very particular technical way of playing that brought me into music. There was something deeper, and you might say, even if it could sound a bit pretentious, that it was something a bit more soulful or artful. And black metal is very much about creating an ambience or an atmosphere, while death metal is much more about technicality and you know, showing a very masculine side of metal. But I think that it's not that focused on the ambience. It has much more to do with how that kind of music is defined and mastering the form rather than the feeling of it.